My dear students, today I am going to discuss some numerical problems from the chapter Force and Laws of Motion of class 9 science. Now in class 9 science, this is a very important chapter. Now I am going to discuss some numerical problems which are common in exam. So let us get started. Now consider this a wooden block. So this is a wooden block of mass 300 kg. 300 kg is the mass of this wooden block. Now a bullet is fired. A bullet is fired into the block. So a bullet is fired into the block. Now mass of the bullet, suppose 20 gram. Mass of the bullet is 20 gram. 20 gram is mass of the bullet. Alright? And the bullet is moving with uniform velocity of 100 meter per second. So the bullet is moving at this speed, 100 meter per second. Its mass is 20 gram, and it is hitting this block of wood. Now it will enter into the block. It will enter into the block. It will enter into the block, and after some time, suppose it stops. So this is where the bullet stops, right? Now since it stops here, its velocity at this point is 0. Velocity of the bullet when it stops will be 0. So final velocity 0. And when it strikes the wooden block, its velocity is 100. So that is u. U means initial velocity. So initial velocity of the bullet is 100 meter per second, and final velocity 0 because it stops. And this distance, consider it s. Now this distance you have to find out. That is the question. Is it clear? So a bullet of mass 20 gram is fired into a wooden block with a speed of 100 meter per second. That is the initial velocity of the bullet as it hits the block. And it penetrates into the block. It goes into the block, and then finally, due to resistance of the block, it stops. So final velocity of the bullet is 0. And this distance is the distance of penetration into the block. So this distance you have to find out. And also you have to find out the force exerted by this block on the bullet. Now why the bullet stops into the block? Obviously the block has given opposite force. It has given opposite force on the bullet. So that force you need to find out. Alright? And the bullet takes, say, 0.05 second into the block. So from this position to this position, as the bullet moves, it takes what time? 0.05 seconds. That means the bullet stops in what time? 0.05 seconds. So all this information given, you need to find the distance of penetration into the block, and then you need to find the force exerted by the block, opposite force exerted by the block on the bullet. Alright. Now let us see how to solve this problem. Now since the bullet goes and stops into the bullet, it is a case of retardation. So retardation or acceleration symbol is A. Now what is the acceleration here? It is negative acceleration or retardation. Now formula for A is V minus U by T, isn't it? So let us find out. Now V is 0 minus U. U is what? 100 by T. What time it takes? 0.05 second. Alright. So if you calculate this, what do you get? Minus 100 by this. Now if you want to remove the decimal, you have to multiply by 100, and here 0.05 multiply by 100. Why you multiply by 100 and 100? We want to remove the decimal. Alright. Now this becomes only 5, and this is 100 into 100. So finally, now this minus remains. Okay, so what do you get? This goes 20. So 20 into 100, that is 2000. So this is the value of A. A is minus 2000, and what will be the unit? Meter per second square. So this is the negative acceleration of the bullet into the block. Alright. Now after finding this acceleration, which is actually retardation because it is negative, so we can find now the force exerted by the block on the bullet. Now force equal to, you know the formula, F equal to ma, mass into acceleration. Alright, force equal to what? Mass into acceleration. Now whose mass and whose acceleration you will take? Now the question is to find the force exerted by block on the bullet. Now here if you see, there are two masses given. So mass of the block is 300 kg and mass of the bullet is 20 gram. Now of course you have to convert this 20 gram to kg. Now 20 gram to kg, first of all let us convert. What do you get? 20 gram to kg will be 20 by 2000, 20 by 1000, isn't it? How to convert gram to kg? Dividing by 1000. So 20 gram divided by 1000, now it becomes kg. Now kg, that means we can cancel now. So 0 0 cancel, 2 cancel, here 50, that means 1 upon 50. So 1 by 50 is the 1 by 50 kg is mass of the bullet. So it is given in gram, but we have to convert to SI unit kg, dividing by 1000. So you get 1 by 50. 1 by 50 kg is the mass of the bullet. Now since we have to find the force exerted by the bullet, exerted by the block, wooden block on the bullet, so we have to consider this mass. Whose mass? Mass of the bullet. So remember, in this formula, this m is mass of that body on which the force is applied. So here force is applied on the bullet, therefore we have to take the mass of the bullet. I follow? That means it is 1 by 50. Now this mass is given just to confuse the students. Some students may take mistakenly 300 because this is mass kg given. But remember, this m is the mass of the body on which the force is exerted. So here the force is exerted on the bullet. So you have to take the mass of the bullet. Okay. So this is 1 by 50 gram kg as we have calculated into A. A is what? Minus 2000. So minus 2000. So it becomes minus here. So if you cancel this, finally you get 40. So 40 Newton. So SI unit of force is Newton. So this is the answer. So this is the answer. Force exerted by the block on the bullet is how much? For minus 40 Newton. Now this minus means it is a retarding force. So in exam you will write the meaning of this. You will write retarding force. Retarding force. Okay. So this is the answer. Next we have to find this distance of penetration. That means how far into the block the bullet has traveled. Alright. Now for this we have to use equation of motion. Now there are three equations of motion, as you know. V equal to U plus AT, then S equal to UT plus half AT square, and the third one is 2AS equal to V square minus U square. Now you will find that for this purpose, to find this distance traveled by the bullet into the block, this will be useful because U is known, V is known, A is known. Now only unknown thing is S. Okay. So here S is what? V square minus U square by twice A. So A is known, V is known, U is known. So we can find S, isn't it? So equal to what? Now 2 into A, acceleration. Now we have found out A what? Minus 2000. So minus 2000. This value minus 2000, is it? We found out already. Okay, twice A, then V square. So here V is 0 because the bullet finally stops. Therefore V is 0. So 0 square, isn't it? Minus U. U is the initial velocity of the bullet, the velocity with which the bullet strikes the wooden block. So U, that is 100. So 100 square. Right? So calculate this. So you will get, calculate. So you will get equal to, so 2 into 2000. Now this minus comes before, then this is 0, so minus 100 squared, that means 100 into 100. Alright, now this numerator minus, denominator minus, so minus divided by minus is plus. You can say minus divided by minus plus, just like minus into minus plus, or you can say they are cancelled, whatever you say. Now, so you cancel this one, 2, this goes 50, then we can do this way, this 0, 0, 0 gone, 0, 0 gone, another 0 gone, another 0 gone. Now here 2, so 2, this 2 and 10 gone 5, so you get 5 by 2. 5 by 2. 5 by 2, that means 2.5 meter. So this is the value of S. So S is what? 2.5 meter. That means the bullet has penetrated into the block. What distance? S equal to 2.5 meter. Okay. So that was what we need to find out. So we found, you were asked to find out F, force exerted by the block on the bullet. So we got this one, minus 40 Newton, and this distance of penetration of the bullet into the block, so we found out 2.5 meter. Okay. Alright, so this problem is very common in exam. You see, this problem is very frequently given in exam, so take care. Okay, now let us see the next one. Next one is, yes, it's a graph. A graph is given. Alright, so this graph is given. Now along the x-axis, time, t in second, alright, and along the y-axis, v is given in meter per second. So along the y-axis, velocity or speed given meter per second, and along the x-axis, time is given in second. Alright, now it is given, so this is 40, somewhere here 20, and this is 0. Then this time is given, this is 10 seconds, so somewhere here 5 seconds. Alright, so that way. Now this is velocity time graph. Now velocity time graph represents what? Acceleration or retardation. Now if this velocity time graph goes this way, it is acceleration, and here it is opposite, it is coming down, so it is a case of retardation, that means negative acceleration. So remember, velocity time graph, this side velocity, this side time, velocity time graph represents acceleration or retardation. So if it goes up like this, so it is acceleration, and here it is coming down, so this is retardation. Alright, now the question is, you have to find the distance traveled. So you are asked to find the distance traveled by this body, whose retardation graph is this one. So distance traveled, you have to find the distance traveled graphically. So that is the thing, graphically, not numerically, not using formula, graphically. That means using this graph, graphically or geometrically. Alright, you need to find distance traveled by this body, whose retardation graph is this, graphically or geometrically. Alright, now graphically, distance is given by the area of this triangle, area of this under the graph and x-axis. This is the time axis, this is the time axis, and this is the graph. Now between the graph and the time axis, so this is the area. So I am shading here, this is the area. Now this area numerically represents the distance traveled. So distance traveled is this area. You followed? Now if you find the area of this, then that is the answer, distance. Now this is a triangle. So its area will be what? Half base into height, isn't it? So area of this triangle will be half base into height. Now half into base. This is the base, which is 10, into height. Height is what? This one, because this is 90 degree. So this is the height. Height is 40. So area of this triangle, how will you find? Using the formula half base into height. Half base, this is the base 10, and this is the height 40. So what do you get? cancel 5, 200. So 200 is the area of this triangle. All right. Now area of triangle is square unit, but we are finding distance, therefore this will be meter. Now the concept is this: the area under the acceleration graph, the area enclosed by the acceleration graph and x-axis gives the distance traveled numerically, not unit wise, only numerically. So numerically we got 200, and unit of distance is meter, isn't it? Therefore this is the final answer. So distance traveled is 200 meter. So that is how we find out graphically. And also you have to find out the acceleration. You need to find out also the acceleration. Suppose in this case acceleration will be numerically. All right, acceleration numerically. So these two things you have to find out. So distance graphically and acceleration numerically. All right. Now acceleration numerically, how will you find out? Acceleration formula v minus u by t. So how will you find out acceleration numerically? That means work by using formula. So v minus u by t, that is acceleration formula. Now what is v here? 40. V is 0, because you see initial u is 40, v finally the body comes and stops here. This is a retardation. So for this point, what is the velocity? 0. For this point velocity 0, and for this point velocity is 40. So final velocity is 0. Final velocity 0. So this is 0. So formula is v minus u by t. So 0 minus u. U is 40. U is 40 by t. T is what? 10 seconds. So that means minus 4. So acceleration is what? V minus u by t formula. Now v is here 0 because the body finally stops. So this is the final point, velocity 0. Alright. So 0 minus 40. This is the initial velocity of the body. Starting point 40. V minus u by t. Now time is 10 seconds. So minus 40 by 10, what do you get? 0 is gone. So minus 40 by 10 is minus 4 meter per second square. ms minus 2. So mainly you will be given to find the distance graphically. Okay, so distance graphically found by area. Is it clear? Okay, then yes, now consider this. The third case. So this one is the third case. Again, suppose a graph. So this graph is given, again VI graph. So this is V in meter per second, and this time in second. All right, and this is the 0. And now this is acceleration graph. You see, it goes up this way. So previously, in the previous case, it was retardation graph coming down. Now this time it is from the origin going up. So this is acceleration graph. Now acceleration graph can go out from the origin or from other point also, but it should be going up. Okay, rising. It should be rising graph. So it is acceleration graph. Now, so the graph is given this way. This is the drawing given in the exam question. Okay. Now this is given 50. So this is given 50. All right. So this is given 50. This point is 50. Now that means 50 meter per second. So velocity at this point is 50 meter per second. Velocity at point 0. So somewhere in between it is obviously 25. 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 25, that is 50. And this point is given 20 seconds. This is time in second, 20 seconds. Alright. If it is 20, 1, 2, 3, 4, somewhere this will be 10. Isn't it? Now if this is 20, if this is 20 and this is 50, now this 50 means this is 50 because this is a rectangle. Alright, so this is 20, this is 20 and this is 50, that means this is 50. Therefore, if you want to put the coordinates of this point will be what? 20, 50. This is 50. Alright, this is 50, this is 50, this is 20. So it will be what? 20, 50. If you want to place, write the coordinates 20, 50. Okay, this is 20, this is 50, this is right angle, isn't it? Now, again, you have to find out acceleration and distance graphically. So here you have to find out acceleration of the moving body graphically, and also distance traveled by the body. Both you have to find graphically. So you are asked to find graphically or geometrically. That means not using formula, not numerically, not using formula, using what? The graph. Now to find distance, we have to use that that concept, that is the area enclosed by the graph and x-axis gives numerically the distance. Now this is the acceleration graph, this is the x-axis. Now the area enclosed by these two is this area of this triangle. So this is the acceleration graph, this is the x-axis. Now between them, from here if you draw a perpendicular, so this is the triangle and this is the area. So this area gives numerically the distance traveled. So what will be the distance traveled? Area of this triangle numerically. Now area of this triangle is half base into height. Now base is 20 and height is this perpendicular. This is what? 50. This is 50, this is 50, this is 20. So 20 into 50. So using what? Area of this triangle. Now area of this triangle is half base into height. So distance traveled by the body whose acceleration graph is this is given by area of this triangle, which is the triangle enclosed by x-axis and the acceleration graph. Okay. So area of this triangle numerically is what? Half base. Base is 20 and height is this one 50. So what do you get by calculation? 500. So 500 numerically is the area of this. Now since we are finding distance, therefore it will be meter. So this is the answer. So distance traveled by the body whose acceleration graph is this, distance traveled by the body in 20 seconds is how much? Graphically we have found out 500 meter. Alright. Now coming to acceleration, how to find the acceleration? Now acceleration is given by the slope, as remember this term slope, S-L-O-P-E. Now slope of this graph, suppose we call it A, slope of the graph OA. Slope of this graph represents the acceleration of the moving body. Alright. Now slope, how will you find out? Yes, this value of the y coordinate divided by value of the x coordinate. That means value of y coordinate is what? 50. Value of x coordinate is 20. So 50 by 20. Or you can say perpendicular by base. So slope is what? Perpendicular by base. So when you learn trigonometry, this point will be more clear. Perpendicular by base. Okay. Now this is perpendicular, this is base. Or you can say this is a value of y coordinate and this is a value of x coordinate. So you can say y coordinate by x coordinate, that means 50 by 20. 50 by 20. Or you can say perpendicular by base. Perpendicular is 50, base is 20. So whichever way you say. Okay. So acceleration is given by the slope, and slope of this graph, slope of the graph OA is what? Perpendicular by base, or y coordinate by x coordinate. So to 50 by 20, so what we get? 5 by 2, that means 2.5, and the unit of acceleration is meter per second square. So 2.5 meter per second square is the acceleration. Now we have found acceleration, distance both graphically. Alright. Of course you can find out using formula. For acceleration you can use the formula v minus u by t. For distance you can use the formula that third equation of motion, 2as equal to v square minus u square. So try that way also. But here the point is that you have to find graphically. Okay. Alright, I hope this discussion has been useful to you. So try to revise at home. Some of you have exam coming week, so be careful about this. Learn properly. Okay. Okay. Thank you and good night.